Hi everyone, I'm just bringing you a quick intro today. I'm doing some high-end DIYs with items from Five Below, our new favorite store. I found these items a while ago. Some were in previous hauls, but I didn't necessarily show all of them, especially the stool that you're going to see. That was probably in my first haul, but it didn't look high-end enough for me to just show it to you as an item you don't have to DIY, because I DIY'd it. So I hope that you appreciate this video and get some good inspiration. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And now we can get started. I'd like to start by just thanking everyone for their support. I hit over 1,000 subscribers and we're still going. Thank you so much. Now these are the items that I am going to be DIYing and updating. The mirror I found at Five Below, it was $8, but the other two items, the stool and the little side table, are $5. So I started with the mirror. I was inspired by this West Elm mirror that retails for $300. A little out of my price point for a mirror, but this is the perfect size for your entryway, which is where I hang it at the end. I'm going to tape it off to the best of my ability and get started painting. So I found this Capitol Hill washi tape. It had the perfect gold in there and a bunch of other cute things. I think I bought a keychain and some craft paper that I can use in future projects. And as you see, the gold was much brighter and obviously more metallic than the actual mirror. So I'm going to do this card trick. I learned this from Furniture Flipping Teacher. She got it from another subscriber or blogger. And it's really a great idea if you don't want to deal with taking the back off of the mirror, which you could do. The screws are really small, and I found it to be tedious, so I avoided it. And so I'm just laying my cards all around, and I'm going to tape off the center to protect the mirror from any overspray, or hopefully protect the mirror from any overspray. So I'm going to finish taping off this little excess piece of paper just to protect the center of the mirror, and then I'm going to prime the mirror with a spray. The first can ran out, and then the second can was apparently too old to function properly. So I had to grab another can and give it a nice coat. And I wanted to do this because I didn't do like a major degreaser on the mirror, and I wasn't going to sand it down or anything, but I wanted to ensure that the gold metallic spray paint I use stuck to the mirror. And of course, after 20 minutes of painting, I realized I had these little lifts. You get a pack of 10 for maybe $5, probably less honestly, at any hardware store, and I believe you can order them on Amazon as well. But it really helped lift the tray up and keep paint from sticking to the bottom of the tarp, which would also stick to the bottom of the mirror. So it just made for a cleaner look, and I'm so glad that I remembered I had these. So I'm just going over with a can of my favorite metallic spray paint to help it blend in more with the washi tape I'm going to use later. And now, time to take off the cards. I did have to go back and remove the poster tape. Of course, you know I'm impatient. So the paint's still a little wet, and it got on the mirror here, and I sprayed it without covering the center at one point to seal it with some acrylic. So I'm going to show you can clean up paint on a mirrored surface or even a glass surface. You just want to take some rubbing alcohol. I am using 91%, but I believe 70% or higher would be the best. And then you just take your cotton ball with the rubbing alcohol and wipe it all off. And then you can clean your mirror like normal with your glass cleaner. So I just want to show you the back of this mirror. It's really nice for $8, you guys. It even comes with an option for hanging. So when you do go to paint, make sure your mirror is in the right position for when you put it on your wall. Or if you're leaning it, don't worry about it. So I'm attempting to measure. I will tell you, math is not my strength in any capacity, but I did want to do a rough draw out of where the lines should go to get the detailing on this mirror. And I am using a chalk pen from Dollar Tree. It wipes right off, whether you use rubbing alcohol or your standard glass cleaner. Once I figured out where my lines went, I taped them off. You are going to see the ring light and the camera. This is a mirror, and I just had it hanging over, but I never blind you with the ring light the whole time. I just needed it to hold my camera. So I'm going in with some standard acrylic paint. You can buy this at Walmart for 50 cents. You can buy paint at Dollar Tree if you like. It's all going to be sealed in the end to prevent it from flaking off and then to enable you to clean it once you're done. So I'm starting off with the black here. And yes, some does get on the edge. And again, I always go back to my card trick. When I get paint on the edge, I let everything dry completely, make sure, you know, my lines are where I need them to be. And then I just put the cards in there and do another quick round of spray paint. Here is the white taped off. You can see it's a little uneven, so I did go back several times after the paint had dried to readjust and to add on more layers to each color actually. And so I'm starting with the pink. I am mixing some white and a bright pink on here as well to get the mixture I want, but I ended up having to do this several times, so the top coat was the last coat, of course. And that's just the color that it became. And for reference, the pink I used is Cameo Pink by Apple Barrel, and then the black and the white are just called Black and White. And for whatever reason, one side turned out really well. It was smooth at the time, and then this side decided to crack on me, and I don't know if it's because I mixed some of the different acrylics. I'm not sure. So it was annoying. I thought covering it with the Mod Podge, which I was going to do anyways to seal it all off and give it that high gloss look, would help like level it out. It did not. So I ended up going back over everything and repainting and mixing pink. I think I mixed like 5 different pinks, unfortunately. So make sure you're using the same texture of acrylic paint when you are mixing them together, because they clearly don't like each other and they cracked on me. And here's my high gloss crack paint. So I went back with the cards to try to clean up the edges. I just took a cotton swab and some of the rubbing alcohol, and it did work a little bit, but the line still wasn't that clean for me. So like I said before, I did end up taking it back downstairs and spray painting the gold. I made sure I did the cards and I taped it all off so I wouldn't have to do a lot of cleaning on the mirror. And now for my favorite part, which is adding that beautiful gold washi. I am using a little craft cutter just to make sure I get a clean line on my cuts. And I did just tape it off based on, you know, the lines in the West Elm mirror. And don't despair. I was a little discouraged because the tape was so sticky, but then I couldn't match up the line initially, so it took a minute. So just take your time. I definitely lifted up tape I had already laid down just to make sure I got a cleaner cut with the other lines, if that makes any sense. I didn't want you to see every little tape edge, I guess is what I'm saying. So I covered it with more tape. And your lines on this don't have to be absolutely perfect. Again, the tape will cover up any minor damage or mistakes. I'm going to give the mirror portion one more good clean just to make sure I got all the paint off. And then I'm going to seal everything with a couple coats of Mod Podge. And I am using the high gloss. You can find this at Dollar Tree, but I will say that it's very selective where you find it. And they offer all of the Mod Podges, so you might go into a store and they only have matte or they only have the satin finish. I did buy mine at Michael's just because it was easier, and buying a bigger bottle was just a better investment because I knew I was going to use it later. And now for the final reveal. It turned out pretty good. I will say there of course is some texture from where I had messed up the paint and where it had blended incorrectly, so I had to go back over it. So there's a little bit of a lift in it, but it's fine. It still looks really good. And now for the stool. Now boucle style fabric is very popular, very trendy, very expensive. I believe that stool is well over $300. Chairs are running for over thousands of dollars. And so I wanted to just bring a little bit of that into my space. I definitely needed a little footstool. And so I went to Joann's and I bought this fabric. There's multiple options there when you go. I believe it is $12.99 a yard, but I only needed half of a yard and I used a 40% off coupon at the time, so you could really save quite a bit of money, especially with the coupon. So I cut it down to size to fit the stool, and you'll see I have my Ryobi staple gun, and then later I will go in with a manual staple gun just to get around the legs and help pull the fabric a lot tighter. And I also use a little bit of hot glue to touch up any spots that were sparse. And once you've gotten an idea of where you want everything to go and you've stapled it down, you'll definitely want to go back and trim your fabric to help clean up the lines. And in this case, of course, the stool is small, so you're going to see any excess fabric that hangs underneath. So you definitely want to cut it down as much as possible. And take your time cleaning up your lines. I did have to untack some of the fabric and readjust it to get a smoother edge on the stool. And now for the final reveal. It turned out perfectly. I had an 8-year-old come over and he appreciated my stool very much. So I think if an 8-year-old likes your project, you've done very well for yourself. The next project is based on a painted stool. It retails for over $80, and I'm actually going to use this table I found at Five Below in a teenage boys room, but I wanted to show you how it could work in a small entryway, especially if you just don't have the space, you know, for a larger shelf. I also thought it would be cool that if you purchased a couple of these, you could stack them on each other and get a tiered shelf. I do have some inspiration picture at the end of the video, but it's a really nice piece. It's wood for $5, and if you have a project of any kind, you can use this wood, especially if you're a DIYer like me. You don't have to use this project to put a table together. So the directions are pretty straightforward. The holes are respectively placed. Honestly, they weren't crazy. I didn't have to do a lot of drilling necessarily, so I just screwed it in. You'll see I'm starting with my screwdriver, and then I end up getting frustrated because the wood is thin and moves around as I'm twisting. I just wanted to get it done, so I pulled out my power drill. And once I've assembled a portion of the table, I am taking a sample paint. I recommend you purchase the sample. I don't need a lot for this, but I also went to the mist tint section and I got this particular sample for $1.25. It is a nice deep gray. I don't exactly know the color, but I liked it and I knew it would go in the boys' room who's getting this piece. So once everything is assembled and sealed, I put the basket down on the bottom, and the little piece of MDF, I guess, goes in the bottom to help it stay stable. And just add on the shelf. And it actually stuck on there without the screws, but of course I screwed it on to ensure its security. And now for the final reveal. So I styled this in a way I would use it, you know, a little bit of rose gold. It can hold a candle if you just need a small side table. And if it's going in your entryway as it's shown on the photo of the box, definitely a pair of shoes could fit on here as well, and a small handbag. And this is how I would style it for a boys' room. I can only imagine some manga and some gaming magazines and whatnot in the bottom of the basket, or even some snacks would be cool next to a gaming chair or a bean bag as well. They can play video games and grab their chips at the same time. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these DIYs and were inspired to go out and do them yourself. Bye!